From a bizarre deep-sea creature that shocked scientists to a bloated python caught in an awkward situation, here are 10 of the strangest creatures that have ever been caught. Number 10. Deep-sea creature. A team of researchers from the Australian Institute of Marine Science recently captured a creature so rare and so strange that there have only been a handful of sightings of it across the entire world. It's called a Benthic siphonophore, and it's been described as a floating city sea creature. The reason for this is that the siphonophore, even though it looks like a single animal, is actually a floating city of tiny organisms, all working together in perfect harmony. But the creature is so rarely seen that scientists know almost nothing about it. They believe siphonophores typically live up to 9,000 feet deep in the ocean. But despite the rarity, the team of scientists finally caught one on camera. They did it by towing a video camera through the deep waters of the Kimberley Marine Park off the coast of Australia. They hadn't even expected to meet a siphonophore, and yet they caught one on high-resolution video. The reason this beast is so scary is that it can grow to be over 100 feet long, technically making it the longest animal in the world. There are 188 different types of these creatures, with the most notorious being the deadly Portuguese man-o'-war, a poisonous sea monster so huge and so deadly it can easily kill a person. Number 9. The Great White Shark. The most ferocious predator to ever be captured has to be the great white shark. Just recently, as part of a documentary series called Inside Nature's Giants, a team of experts captured a massive great white shark and then dissected it to understand more about the species, like how it evolved and why it behaves the way that it does. Of course, the team didn't actively go out and kill a great white. Instead, they dissected a great white that in 2010 was captured in a beach net designed to protect humans swimming at South Africa's Mosel Bay from being attacked by such creatures. The shark was a female, 12 years old, 2,000 pounds, and 15 feet long. One thing that you might notice right away when looking at the picture of the shark hanging suspended on the beach is that it has a stomach clamped between its teeth. It's actually the shark's own stomach, which scientists believe it may have vomited up when it panicked inside the net. That doesn't sound particularly humane to me, but then again, the sharks themselves are bloodthirsty killers, so I suppose its whole life was destined to be full of violence from the start. The dissection itself was also pretty gross, although they didn't find evidence that this shark had ever eaten a human being, thankfully. They did in fact take out its liver to research it, and amazingly enough, it was about the size of a person. Number 8. Sharp-toothed monster. A group of anglers in Australia captured a bizarre sea creature with no eyes and extremely sharp teeth. The creature was so weird that it left some people on the internet terrified, because nobody seemed to know what it was. It seemed to be some kind of sea dragon, or maybe a type of eel. The weird creature was caught by T. Hoken and her fishing group. She said the first thing that came to her mind when she saw the monster was the 1979 Alien movie. She described the creature as being purplish-brown with a weird head and a body like an eel. However, it didn't move or even wiggle when she pulled it out of the water. After much debate and a lot of searching, the creature was finally identified as a bearded worm goby. It's not a dragon or an eel, but actually a type of fish. And it does have eyes. They're just so small, like pinpricks, that you can barely see them. It lives in coastal waters and spends most of its time burrowing through the mud like a worm, digging complex labyrinths under the surface and tunneling its way through them. Number 7. Giant grasshopper. You may have seen the photograph online of a man from the 1930s holding a giant grasshopper estimated to be about 3 feet long. It's been widely shared across social media over the past few years and is, quite frankly, absolutely terrifying. The last thing anyone wants are grasshoppers that can grow to 3 feet long hopping around and eating all of our crops. The average grasshopper is only about 2 inches long. Even the giant weta, an insect like a grasshopper but way bigger, is only 4 inches long. So how exactly did someone catch such a large grasshopper in the 1930s? According to Snopes, the image is actually a fake. The photo comes from 1939 and was originally probably used as a postcard from North Dakota. What's really strange is that giant grasshoppers were a favorite theme in postcards during the early part of the 20th century. The picture is absolutely real, and there are dozens of other postcards featuring fake giant grasshoppers. But the grasshopper was a hoax, a kind of prank from the 1930s, that to this day is still fooling people. What's the best prank or hoax you've ever played on anyone? Don't be shy, tell me about it in the comments below. Then remember to subscribe to Epic Wildlife if you haven't already for more awesome videos. Number 6. Water Monster. A very unsettling video was recently uploaded online by a man named Raymond Young, showing what appears to be a horrifying creature captured inside a steel cage. In the footage, the creature is obviously hairless, it has massive claws, and it seems to be foaming blood out of its gums as it tries to rip the metal cage apart with its teeth. At first, there was a pretty heated debate around what kind of scary monster this really was. Some claimed it was an alien creature, and others thought it was a mutant, a freak created by pollution and radiation that was fished from a toxic river in China. However, it turned out to actually be a rare breed of Malaysian bear, suffering from a disease called alopecia, which is why all its hair fell out. The poor animal was beaten by local plantation workers in Malaysia and driven into the forest, despite the fact that it was in desperate need of medical attention. When the animal reappeared later on, it was captured inside the steel cage and then handed over to wildlife experts who nursed it back to health. I suppose that's a good thing that the creature was saved, but it also seems like now it can continue to terrify people who don't know what it is. Number 5. Spider Scorpion. One of the most horrifying insects ever discovered was recently caught inside of a chunk of amber. Yes, if you're thinking that this sounds like the beginning of the plot of Jurassic Park, you're right. It's a prehistoric nightmare known to scientists as the Chimera acne yingi. This disturbing insect has 8 legs like a spider, huge fangs, and a whip-like tail like a scorpion. It's a weird scorpion-spider hybrid, a type of arachnid that crawled through the rainforests of Southeast Asia over 100 million years ago. During all its crawling, this one got caught in the gooey sap of a tree and was preserved. It was so scary that I suppose even Mother Nature didn't want this thing scurrying around the planet and freaking out all the other animals. Let me paint a picture of just how terrifying this thing was when it was still alive. Scientists say the monster was quite similar to the modern black widow or huntsman spider. It could produce silk through its rear end, but unlike our modern spiders, it had a long tail that was about twice the size of its body. It used this tail to fling acid at its enemies, like a catapult filled with barrels of corrosive battery acid. Ugh. Number 4. Japanese Sea Monster. In 1977, a fishing boat in Japan allegedly caught a sea monster. This weird incident went down on April 25 when the fishing trawler known as the Zuyang Maru went out for its usual rounds. The crew reeled up the net later in the day, and as they were pulling it up onto the vessel, they thought they had a huge catch. The net was extremely heavy. But the crew was shocked when, rather than having a net full of fish, they found an unfamiliar animal corpse that nobody could identify. According to what the crew members said after the incident, the creature they pulled up in their net was enormous. It also looked very unique, but because all its skin was rotted off, it was impossible to say for sure what kind of animal it was. It had a long neck. It looked like it could have been an alien or a Loch Ness monster, even an aquatic dinosaur. And in the end, the captain of the boat didn't want such a heavy creature on board and didn't see it being useful to anyone because it was already so decayed. So the captain had the body of the sea monster thrown overboard, and nothing like it has ever been found again. The mystery will likely never be solved, but speculators will continue to guess at what this bizarre animal really was. Number 3. Giant Crocodile. In Australia, 8 years of hunting recently culminated in the capture of a monster crocodile in the Northern Territory town of Katherine. According to the authorities with the Northern Territory Parks and Wildlife, the crocodile weighed an unbelievable 1,328 pounds. It was also 15.4 feet long and was finally caught in a trap placed downstream from the town of Katherine. But it took them nearly a decade to do it, as the crocodile proved to be very wily and elusive. The authorities estimated the croc to be about 60 years old, so it's not like the animal wasn't smart. It didn't avoid getting eaten for 60 years just by sheer luck, that's for sure. Why were they trying to catch the monster crocodile in the first place? It was a danger to the human population. So far, it is the biggest crocodile ever removed from the Katherine River. It was too much of a threat to the people living in the town, especially since in the northern regions of Australia, crocodiles kill about 2 people a year. When dealing with a great big beast like this, the numbers could easily skyrocket. Thankfully, the wildlife officials didn't euthanize the crocodile. Instead, they took him to a crocodile farm where he should live out the rest of his very long life in retirement. That's a pretty good deal for a raging river beast like this croc. That is, unless somebody turns him into a pair of cowboy boots first. Number 2. Bloated python. In Thailand, a massive python was caught in an awkward situation when it slithered into a manhole cover and couldn't get itself out. That led to a dangerous situation, as I'm sure you can imagine. Normally, trained reptile professionals are called in to deal with problem snakes in the Thai province of Chonburi so they don't eat people's kids or pets. But this time, the snake actually caught itself. The clumsy python became entangled in the holes of the manhole cover. It managed to get its head through, but its belly was bloated, probably from a recent meal, and it couldn't fit through the hole, resulting in a very strange situation. It's just kind of ironic because normally these workers are removing pythons from people's houses, not rescuing them from their own clumsy mistakes. Number 1. Rampaging turkey. In Madison, Wisconsin, a rampaging turkey was caught on film trying to kill a mailman. Turkeys are known for being extremely aggressive during mating season, and this particular bird seemed to be trying to defend its territory. Mailmen are used to dealing with angry dogs on their route, but turkeys are another situation altogether. The turkey even left its home and chased the mail truck down the street, preventing the mailman from getting away. It's unclear whether the turkey wanted to fight the mailman or his truck, but in the end, the owner came and recaptured the turkey and brought it back home, saving the mailman from a rather painful attack at the claws of the vicious bird. What would you do if you were being chased by a psychotic turkey? Let me know in the comments, and thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, hit subscribe and come back for more great content.